forests in the UP are growing at a rate 2 times of our annual harvest. How much wood is harvested annually that goes into floors and homes and cabinets and paper and all the things that we use on a daily basis, and to think that we still grow twice as much wood as we harvest.
I think there's this conception that forestry and forest management is all about going out to the land and getting the money and doing that however you've got to do it. Just get the money and run and hope something happens after we cut all those trees down, after we get the money out of the woods, leave a mess. It's gonna look like trash. Who cares? It's about the dollar. And that's really not the case at all. There's a really great body of science behind what's happening out in the forest.
Before any cutting's taken place, certified foresters go in and they make a careful selection of the trees that are coming down. So they're selecting trees that, need to come down. Not trees that they want to cut down because they're looking for logs, but trees that really do need to come down to promote the health of the forest.
Today we're going to take a drive to a portion of the Bayfield County Forest. It's in northwest Wisconsin. It's a 170,000 acre big piece of land that stretches all the way from Lake Superior on the Chequamegon Peninsula all the way down to the Sawyer County line and cable. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. I rambled. So everything from really dry sand to really wet, moist clay and stuff in between are on the county forest. I think that's kind of what's really unique about it, is there's so much here. Like every kind of tree that's in the northern part of the state, we'll find in pretty good numbers on the county forest.
I always like to say that you only see the bad logging jobs. The reality is that when you drive down the road in the Upper Peninsula, you're driving through a managed forest. And I don't care if it's owned by private industry or the federal government, these forests are largely managed. The UP is unique in that 25% of land is owned by the federal government, so Forest Service, Park Service, 25% is owned by the state, 25% is owned by the forest products industry, and 25% is owned by non-industrial family forest owners. And virtually all of those ownership categories manage their forests at some level. So if you had 400 acres, if you had a square mile, 600 acres, which is nothing, you could furnish the wood for the NCAA Final Four courts forever. Forever. And so that's such a small dot on the landscape.
Maybe we'll even step on a bee's nest. This is my bear spray. It's just a big old can of pepper spray, and it's kind of my friend. It hangs out with me in the summertime, springtime especially, and even through the winter. I've never had to use it, but if your food is kind of blah tasting, you can always just add a little cayenne to it. People ask me a lot of times, what do you do for a living? And I tell them that I'm a forester. And then the next question that they always ask is, well, what does that mean? Because they know it has something to do with trees, but they're never exactly sure what that means. So I tell them that being a forester means that I fall down and trip in the woods for a living, which is about accurate. I don't think a day goes by that I don't biff it pretty hard. So let's see how old this dude is. Okay, so here's the core on this red oak. Right here is the center of the tree. It's a little difficult to see, but these rings represent a year of growth. You You can see earlier in the life of the tree right here, it grew pretty vigorously. And then as you move out toward the outside, where the bark is, these rings start to get tighter and a lot closer together. Just from what I know of this area, this tree is probably about 90, 95 years old, give or take 5 to 10. So I could count it up, but that could take a lot of time. It smells really good.
Sustainability is incredibly important because, without a careful use of the resources that we have available to us, businesses, they can't continue. It'd be much like it was over 100 years ago, where deforestation was really a major factor in a lot of the reasons why businesses failed, in this area. So again, sustainability, the responsible use or harvest of that timber is really important.
The entire peninsula was clear cut in the late 1800s, from one end to the other. So the forest we have today grew back after large-scale man-made disturbance. And it wasn't done the right way. They cut across the river. I mean, they just absolutely liquidated the resource. What I've learned in the 20 some odd years that I've been doing this is how fast the forest grows, how fast it changes, how fast in its capacity to heal itself and adapt. I mean, I'm seeing hardwood stands now that are being cut on the third rotation, right? The same spot for the third time. And so for a forester, that's, it works. I mean, when we can actually, we're taught that you can do this every 10 years. But when you actually do it long enough and you do it for the second time and the third time, it's really kind of neat.
As a company that uses product from the forest, it's critical for us to ensure that product that we're bringing in, that we're purchasing on the market, has been harvested sustainably. There are many organizations throughout the U.S. and around the world. Their primary goal or focus is really to promote sustainability and expose sustainability to facilities, venues, events, other types of projects that might not traditionally really think about that. Just like those universities compete on the football field or on the basketball court, they're competing amongst themselves for the most sustainable, most environmentally friendly facility.
We can have a conservation benefit or a higher ecological outcome while protecting the jobs that are so important to not only the local economy in Lewis County, but the economy in the Upper Peninsula. So it's really a combination of marrying ecological and economic benefit so that we can have the greatest outcome for all the folks up here.
So this baby is getting toward the prime of its life and actually a little bit over the hill. So we're very concerned about regenerating our oak. They won't last forever. And we're thinking toward the future about wildlife and people seeing awesome, majestic oaks on the landscape. My grandkids, my kids. So if that's going to happen, there's going to have to be some action taken. They won't just replace themselves. This is the actual paycheck. The reason I got into forestry is because there is free food everywhere. Started mushroom hunting, and the berry picking, can't get away from that either. My dad would cut wood and cut firewood for our family when we were pretty young, and us kids got addicted to the scent of the Husqvarna chainsaw and going out and making a bonfire and cutting firewood. It was just a peaceful place. I always felt like the woods was a place that was easy for me to clear my mind, to pray, to think, to unwind, to feel small and feel that my world is not the world, and that there's something greater and there's someone greater. And the forest, I think, helps remind me of that, that I'm a little small in the big scheme of things.
People see logging trucks or they see a wood product, they often just think the worst, you know, there goes more of our precious forest. Take comfort in the fact that there's many industries and many businesses that are looking out, you know, for the best use of that product, and it's not going to waste, and it's not depleting what we have already out in the woods.